Good evening, everybody. I am just jumping on today to talk through a trade that we took on EURUSD yesterday. Yesterday. I had a couple of questions on this. A couple of you guys in the socials and on my Discord were calling this short. We took it long, and as you can see, we had a fantastic result. So I'd like to talk you through my thought process, the reason why I took this, as these are the sort of trades that I personally would take the opposite way in the past and not do as well on them. And nowadays I've got a really good filter process that I'm going to talk you through, and there's a couple of things that I'm looking for in these trades that allow me generally to keep on the right side of the marketplace. And I think that's really, really important for you guys as traders to learn these things as well. I was always taking trades in what I thought were the right direction and often being wrong. And now, generally, I say generally, my trading is moving in the right direction in most cases. It's not always perfect, obviously, but in most cases I normally catch the buyers quite right. There's a few really key filters that we're looking for, and this is something that I'll talk you through towards the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned. Before I do that, I've had a couple of questions about the range finders that I use. So I'm going to talk you through what they are, how they work, and how I set them up, and hopefully you can then start putting them on your charts and you can have some good success with them too. Okay, so the range finders that I use. So I look at, I'm going to drop down just to a lower time frame just so you can see it better. Okay. I look at 4 key areas every day in the marketplace. Okay. The Asia range, the Frankfurt range, an hour or so of the London Open, and an hour or so of the New York Open. Okay, and I use the same range finder for all of these. It's called Asian Range Nico 948. I'll talk you through each one. Okay, so this first one is the Asian range. Okay, I won't talk through these in too much detail, but these are the timings that we use. You can change the colors and the lines however you want, okay, but that's the timing most importantly. We then have the Frankfurt one, okay. This is, so the Frankfurt hour is where Frankfurt opens and closes, and it's usually quite a weak area. It will often take out liquidity in Asia, for example. It then creates quite a weak high. As you can see here, it's taken out liquidity in Asia. You could have got maybe a nice short down there, but then ultimately there's been a weak high. It's been taken out, so we keep an eye on that one. We then look at the, give you the settings for that one. So the settings for the Frankfurt one are between 1 and 2 a.m. I'm not sure what time zone it's on, but look, that's just the way it is, 1 and 2 a.m. It works out as between kind of 6 a.m., I think 7 a.m. UK time. We've then got the first hour of London. So London will often create either high or the low of the day. So the first hour of London is where the volume comes into the marketplace between 8 and 9 a.m. UK time. So that's a really key one to look at as well. Timing is between 3 and 4. You can obviously frame the entire London session if you want to. That's really up to you. You can choose that. And then last but not least, we've got the New York Open, okay, which is again the first hour of New York. You set it to 8 and 9. That's the first hour in New York, and this often creates a trap. And these traps, as you can see, they often get swept. So we've got a trap there. That's been taken out quite clearly. Oh, sorry, actually it's down there. Trap there, it's been taken out quite clearly. We've got a trap here, which has been taken out. And you know, the New York Open is usually swept almost every single day, as you can see, swept. I'll just give you one more. Okay, it's held on that one, but then it's very quickly been swept. So the New York Open is a really good one to look at. So I use these range finders as kind of guides, just visual aids, just to try and help me keep on the right side of trading and things like that. I use the Asia range as liquidity points, as you can see here. The low of the day was also the low of Asia, which, as we saw, got swept, and that took us into the trade that we took there, which is quite handy as well. The Frankfurt is a weak zone that we look for, you know, a sweep or manipulation of. We can trade from there. And like I said, the London Open will often give us the high or low of the day. So here you've got, hasn't really worked out the past couple of days, but often be. So that is, yeah, again, not really worked out there. It's not always perfect, as you can see. Here you got the high or the low there, high of the day created. Here you got the high of the day created. Here you've kind of got the high of the day created. It's not perfect. It's not the basis of my trading, but it can often, if for example you get something like London taking a big sweep up, for example, then often that will be the high of the day, and then it's often not invalidated. We can keep going back, lower the day there, okay, not being invalidated. So the London Open will often give us a good entry. Anyway, coming back to our trade. So it was quite an easy one for me, really. It was quite simple. So what I'm looking for here, at the time before we took the trade, this was an untested zone. So I mark it down as untested and mark it down as green, okay? What had happened in the morning is, as we can see here, price had come up and taken out. So the mornings of Asia had taken out this daily level. So this was previously an untested level, as you can see. Then price has jumped up and down, up and down. It's then swept out that level, okay? So we mark it then as a dead level. We know it's been taken. So for me, that's buy-side liquidity that's been taken. Now, a lot of you were then saying, right, well, because of that, we're going to be going short. And if we hold this trade, we're bearish generally, okay? But we're going to be going short and we're going to be taking out some of these lows. For me, however, what I'm looking at here is we've got this zone here, which is inefficient at the moment. This entire area has been unattested, which basically means in here is a big imbalance, and price needs to mitigate that imbalance before it can then take out further sell side liquidity. So for me, I'm looking at a bullish bias. You can see also on the hourly time frame, we've had bullish structure. This is bullish structure. It might be counter trend, but it's still bullish structure. It's really important to keep an eye on that. So when I saw price come down and sweep out this daily level, now not only was this a daily level, but it was also Asia's low. That's now been taken. For me, with New York just opening, okay, for me, that is a really key area I'm going to be looking for buys, okay? What do we have here? First things first, we had, let me just hide this so you can see this a little bit better. First things first, we had the trap of New York taken out. So that's cleared now. That's been taken out. And then what we were looking for is our standard MSU setup. So we had push up, push down, push up, push down, push up, manipulation of that. And then it did kind of piss about in here for a little while, but ultimately we then got our trade. We took our first entry off here at this liquidity high. Okay, that's where London opened, so that's a good area. As again, often that is an area which holds, as we spoke about. That's first target off. And then the next target was at this daily level. Now, one of the tips that I'd give you when you're marking on these daily highs and daily lows is once they've been tested, okay, like Asia tested this one here, once they've been tested, don't delete them. And the reason why you don't delete them is because if they reverse the marketplace, that area itself is a key area to look at for potential reversals or profit targets. So in this instance, look at what happens. Price resists, it tests again, it resists, then it breaks through a little bit, and then it pushes back down. And then it's come back and it's tested again today. And, you can see this area is acting clearly as support. So for me, this is where I took 90% of my profit out. We got 7% out of the trade, $7,000 on an $1,000 account. And ultimately, we're sitting quite pretty on that. Now, one thing that I want to just remind you of is efficient pricing and inefficient pricing is something that's really important to keep an eye on, okay? This is how the market moves. If there's a move like this, we know these are supply zones or demand zones. If there's a move like this, where it's been very impulsive with imbalances left behind, until that area is tested, the market is imbalanced, okay? It's inefficient. And for us to consider further sells, we need price to at least come into this red zone here. And if it comes into this red zone, then we can look at sells again. So for me, when I'm seeing bullish structure, bullish structure, bullish structure, for me, I'm not taking this short until I've had a test of this area. The other thing that I used when I was taking this trade is I used my DAXI bias, okay? So as we can see in this trade here, okay, if I just zoom this out a little bit, what do we have here? So this is the push down that we had through the morning, okay? This is the New York Open here. And if we drop down to a lower time frame still, price has come to test a liquidity area here, which it has tested well. That's a liquidity area because it is a low below an imbalance and a demand zone. So we've got, let me just draw them out for you. We've got a supply zone here, as you can see. Okay, we've got a supply zone there. We have an imbalance in here. Okay, and we have resting liquidity. So that's a good area we're looking for reversals. Look how bearish this structure is. Remember, if the DXY is going bearish, then EU is going bullish. Okay, in this zone, we've then had a tag of that area, a lovely little MSU. Okay, so down, up, invalidation. We did actually have a fake break, and then we had another MSU setup here. So there's all this, all these factors in, you know, the short on the DXY, which then add to my confluence of going long on EURUSD. So for me, this was a really, really clear trade. Now, the tip I would always give you when you're looking to go short or long is make sure that you remember your trading basics. For example, this area here in the marketplace is clearly not an area we particularly want to be selling from. Why is that? Well, if we're looking at a range of any kind, whether it's a range like this, okay, we can see we're in discount. We don't sell in discount, do we? Even if we're using the wider range like this, we're still in discount pricing. If you want to be selling the marketplace, it's a story as old as time. You want to be selling high and buying low. So even if this was a perfect sell setup, I would not be taking it here because this is a low probability sell setup. It's a high probability buy, which means if I'm getting a buy setup, I'm going to take it. With all the other confluences that we've looked at, I'm going to be taking this trade. But in terms of sells, even if it was the perfect sell setup, I would not be selling from here because we are low in the range. Even if you use this new range, which has just been created, we don't want to be selling here. The chance of it reversing is high. Where we want to be selling from is if price gets back up to here. And do you know what? If you waited until Asia and took a sell from here, you would have got some premium. And if you'd held through the news, you might have even got out of it a bit of profit. But the bias for me is bullish at the moment until we reach this area. So it was a really, really simple trade for me to take long. And as you can see, we took 7% out of it, $7,000 on a $100,000 account. And yeah, look, really easy trading. So the range finders, I'd like you all to start using those, okay? Any questions on how you need to set them up, please pop it in the comments. I'd like to understand what you're using in your trades as well. Do you use range finders? Do you use the Asian range? Pop a message in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please pop me a like as well. And as always, as a big thank you, if you can subscribe to the channel, I'll keep coming at you with new and improved content and education every single day. Thank you guys.